people next in line, lower class and social slime, they don't matter, genocide, sick from water, sick from air, making money, they don't care, Caesar shit, force of air, fuck them back, it's only for they war, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape, they burn the kids, no one leaves countries, laugh to your face, fight, and die, cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line, lower class and social side, they don't matter, genocide, sick from water, sick from air, making money, they don't care, see the shit, force a bear, fuck them back, that's only fair, they bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape, they burn the kids, no one leaves countries, lie to your face, fight, and die, cause God forgives, yeah. Coming back around again.
Welcome to the show. It's Ron Stevens, your host here on UCY.TV for another hour of Game On. And what are we going to talk about tonight? I just got home a little bit ago, so I've been doing some research. There's a guy by the name of Bodin, B-O-D-I-N, from the 1500s, and some very, very interesting stuff, because I've been looking at the Divine Right of Kings some time ago, and this guy pretty much nails it as far as what kind of a government we have today. And but I'm not going to spend too much time on it today because I have to look into it a little bit deeper. So one thing I brought up on a show not too long ago was, and if you haven't seen it, go look it up. It's on YouTube. It'll make you puke. If it doesn't, there's something wrong with you. Called the Kinsey syndrome, and it explains how these sick people that run our world. This is all about the tear down of your society, and they're using everything in their power to do so. It's why we have gay pride parades today, why we have transgendered. It's why, what was that guy's name that he won the female, he was a what? Bruce Jenner ends up on Glamour magazine as Woman of the Year. If that doesn't show you we're living in a lunatic world, I don't know what would. That's what we're up to here. And the child sex education, they like to call it, preparing children for pedophiles. And it's even worse than that. Well, it can't be worse than that, but what is it about the destruction of the child and traumatize the child? I mean, these aren't subjects that children deal with. Children want to have fun. That's what children wish to do. Childhood lasts for a very, very short period of time, and they're intent on robbing that from them. These are very, very sick people. So on that note, and see, in the Kinsey syndrome in that movie, it shows how they went lightly on these people. They changed the rules because of the Kinsey report. Pedophiles used to get like very, very long sentences in that. They shouldn't be out in public. And through the Kinsey report, they changed that. And that holds true today. It's even worse. So we have a couple of quick stories here. Gordon Stuckless won't be deemed a dangerous sex offender. This is in the Toronto Star. Prosecutors have decided not to seek dangerous offender status for a man at heart of Maple Leaf Gardens sex abuse scandal. Now, this guy's been a sex abuser pretty much all his life. I don't know, he looks like he's about 60 or so now. The lawyer for the man at the heart of the sex abuse scandal at the Maple Leaf Gardens says prosecutors have decided not to seek a dangerous offender designation for his client. The Crown has also chosen not to pursue long-term offender status for Gordon Stuckless, even though he is a long-term offender. If you swipe a candy bar or a piece of pizza or something silly like that, I'm pretty sure you're going to get slapped pretty hard anymore, but not this guy. Now, Stuckless pleaded guilty last year to 100 charges related to the sexual abuse of 18 boys decades ago. Stuckless was later found guilty of 2 additional charges of gross indecency linked to 2 of the 18 victims. A spokesman of Ontario's Ministry of the Attorney General, who I've spoken to many, many times as I have had my ass dragged through the courts on non-charges that should never have been brought forward. The Crown knows it, and we end up with these big, long trials as they try to nail us, try to categorize us as free men on the land, or as the police chief, when he called me to inform me that my problem was that I'm diametrically opposed to what 99% of the community think, which just states to me that 99% of my community do not have the capacity to think. I've got this hammered out with the Attorney General's office now. They now agree I am not a free man, and that I am just actually a very knowledgeable man. So we've come to that conclusion finally after all this nonsense. But, I know people all over this province that are being needlessly harassed for doing no harm to anyone. And they're having their lives destroyed by this system that we live under. But we got this guy who's, the prosecution is not going to attempt to have him labeled as a long-term offender. This guy, 100 charges related to sex abuse of 18 boys. So a spokesman with the Attorney Ministry, the Attorney General, said the Crown's decisions were made after careful consideration of the case, including a psychiatric assessment conducted on Stuckless earlier this year. Brendan Crawley said the Crown will be moving forward ahead with Stuckless' sentencing on March the 29th. Stuckless defense lawyers said the Crown has been asked to clarify what sentence it will seek by late January. The bottom line is they're seeking some kind of sentence that's a regular sentence. That's how they describe it, a regular sentence, whether it be 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, something like that. Eric Goldkind said outside court after a brief hearing. Prosecutors have previously indicated they wanted Stuckless labeled a dangerous offender. This is what the prosecutors wanted, but now all of a sudden the prosecutors don't want it. I wonder why that is, which would allow an indefinite sentence. A long-term offender designation, meanwhile, can result in supervision of up to 10 years in the community after incarceration. Goldkind has long said the dangerous offender label is unwarranted, particularly since his client has abided by the law since his previous convictions and voluntarily undergoes chemical castration. Stuckless remains under house arrest while on bail and must be accompanied by his brother. This fall, a court-ordered psychiatric assessment. I love this shit. Excuse my language. Goldfein suggested Tuesday that the psychiatric report played a significant role in the Crown's decision. While Mr. Stuckless certainly is, this is brilliant, while Mr. Stuckless certainly is one of the worst offenders in Canadian history, and I've been very open about the lives he's ruined, and I've never sugarcoated that by any interpretation of the law of our land. Mr. Stuckless is not a dangerous offender or long-term offender, he said. Stuckless also pleaded guilty in 1997 to sex assaults on 24 boys while he was an usher at the Toronto Maple Leaf Gardens between 1969 and 1988. He was sentenced to 2 years less a day in that case. Okay, so let's see here. 1997. Let me see here. Stuckless also pleaded guilty in 1997 to sex assaults on 24 boys while he was an usher at the Toronto Maple Leaf Gardens between 1969 and 1988. Well, that's 69. Doesn't that qualify as long-term offender? From 1969 to 1988? Doesn't that? It doesn't matter how you do the math. That's a long-term offender. But the Crown has decided not to seek long-term offender status for Mr. Stuckless. He was sentenced to 2 years less a day in that case, but was later increased to 5 years. He paroled in 2001 after serving 2/3 of his sentence. So, but for all the damage this gentleman's done, he will not be found to be a long-term offender. I find that rather sad. And then we'll go on to this one. This is in the Globe and Mail. Ex-Subway pitchman Jared Fogle. Remember, I was fat, but I only eat Subway sandwiches. Has appealed his 15-and-a-half-year federal prison sentence, which he received last month after pleading guilty to child pornography and sex charges, court documents said. Fogle, 38, who became famous after losing weight on a diet that included sandwiches from the fast food chain, pleaded guilty on November 19th to charges of child pornography and traveling for illicit paid sex with minors. On the same day, U.S. District Court Tanya Walton Pratt imposed a sentence higher than either side wanted. The prosecution had sought 12.5 years, while Fogle's attorney had asked for 5 years. Fogle also was fined $175,000. Fogle's notice of appeal was filed with 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals on Monday. Court documents said Fogle is in federal custody and his prison release date is July 11th, 2029, according to the Federal Bureau of Prisons. An attorney for Fogle was not immediately available for comment on Tuesday at the sentencing hearing. Fogle's attorneys had argued that Fogle had a sex addiction, which had placed his addiction. Which had replaced his addiction to food. The former pitchman had expressed remorse for his actions. Now, what kind of a defense is that, huh? Okay, what kind of a dick-ass defense is that? Don't look at Fogle, right? Like, we all know he had an eating problem before because he was quite fat. But then he went on Subway sandwiches, lost the money, lost a lot of weight. Picked up a hell of a contract, to promote Subway sandwiches. But in that process of losing the weight and eating Subway sandwiches, which was an addiction, his fooding was addictive. So he replaced his addiction to food, and he replaced that with an addiction of child pornography and sex with children. If you buy that, you got a problem. Fogel obtained child pornography given to him by his co-conspirator, Russell Taylor, which included homemade material involving victims in Indiana. Taylor, the ex-director of Fogel's charitable foundation, pleaded guilty last Thursday to child pornography charges and was sentenced to 27 years in prison. Now, don't be surprised if Fogel has his sentence vastly reduced. The only possible reason I could think he wouldn't have it reduced is because of his notoriety as a spokesman for Subway, because Subway wants to show that they care. So Fogel may just take this long-term sentence, deservedly so, but there's a reason, because if you go through how much time these pedophiles actually spend in jail and what their sentencings are, you will find that they're grossly low. So the only thing that I could see that he got that much sentence in the first place was to take the heat off of Subway, save the corporation kind of thing. That would be the reason he got that. But generally, we have a problem with pedophilia in the world, at least in the West, probably all over the world, and they've turned it into, they've basically normalized it through these sex education programs in the school, which can be traced right back to the Kinsey reports. And they sold the Kinsey reports. This is what really kills me, and this is why I hate media so much, and this is why, again, I hate scientists. It was supposed to be scientific reports, scientific data coming out of the Kinsey report, when in fact he was mainly talking to prostitutes and going to gay bars and that, and prisoners, and calling this and using this data to portray it as normal sexual relationships of men and women. And this was bought and made him quite famous, and pushed through the government and through the systems, through the judiciary, to normalize what is most definitely not normal. Okay? And that's just the way it is. So, now, what else we got cooking here? I ran into an old friend of mine last night. Well, he's not an old friend of mine. He's a gentleman that threatened to sue me, actually. Bill Ryerson, from one of the depopulation groups, when I wrote a bit of an article. And he threatened to have me sued for me saying that they were in the depopulation business, when in fact they're in the depopulation business. So, it was good for me, bring it on, bring it on. Let's get these cards out on the table. But he went away, as they always do, because they don't want to come out in the light. They like to threaten, but they don't want to come out in the light. There was one other story here I wanted to read quickly, and then I think I'm going to go over to the depopulation crap for a bit. Now, there's an article that I don't know if I wrote it or just pasted it into my blog. Let's see if I can, I don't remember what the hell. Let me see if we can get that up here. No, I'm going to plug this into the chat anyways. I'm sure most of the people in chat have already watched this. If you haven't watched it, you need to watch it. And I have this is very comprehensive, and the guy has a sense of humor too, and it's called "Destroying the West Through Subversion and Demoralization," and that's exactly what's been going on for such a very long time. Now, I'm going to stuff that in the chat because if you haven't seen this, you really do need to see it. And if you have seen it, then pass it around to people. And you can, if you're just listening and not in the chat, you can simply go to canadiantruths.wordpress.com and simply type in the search bar Yuri, U or Y-U-R-I. Okay, you don't need his whole name. Just punch in Yuri into the search bar on the blog, and you will come up with a very, very good overall view of what's been going on for a very, very long time. Now, I know where I can find this. Let me see here. Let's go back to here. Maybe I can dig that other story. I don't remember what half of this stuff's called anymore. A lot of times I'll go in the stats bar on my blog to see what people are reading, and I run into stuff that's been on there since like 2006, 2007, and forgot that I ever put it on. Like there's a lot of posts on that blog. I know what I'm looking for. Let's see here. Now, this guy's name, Bill Ryerson, and this all came about from Tim Hortons Donuts originally, because when I went to Tim Hortons there one time, they had an Earth Day flyer up on the door, and understanding what that was about, this is what he said to me. This was 2010. I don't know if that's the original one or not. Let's see here. I got a letter from Mr. Ryerson of what was the name of his outfit? Global Population Speak Out. He's changed the name of it. And it was it was because, excuse me, I'm kind of stumbling here. It was Victoria Serta is in the next town up from me on Lake Huron, and she ran in 2007 provincial election when I did. She ran for the Green Party, but she's also supposedly personally trained by Mr. Al Gore, and was running around the area here at the theaters showing the inconvenient truth. And, well, we know it is an inconvenient lie. So I took offense to this, and I did a video about Tim Hortons coffee, and I actually phoned Tim Hortons head office, and they did a bit of a run. But you got to call these people out every opportunity you get. You don't just sit there and bitch about them. Call them out. Get on the horn. Give them a call. That's what you got to do. You got to know. They got to know that people are onto their nonsense. Anyways, Victoria Serta wrote here, best ways to address population overgrowth, education of women, better health care, and relief of poverty, all of which have been proven to slow and eventually reverse population growth, as well as being ethically and socially acceptable in any case. Genocide should never be tolerated. Well, it is genocide, you stupid cow. It's exactly what it is. It's genocide. But your little green brain, your Al Gore-trained brain, can't figure that one out. If you guys continue to push this stuff with nice words and all this kind of stuff, then it's acceptable. Just like global warming is a total fraud, but if we use the proper language, it becomes acceptable. So I wrote back to her, I guess, this is a long time ago, Victoria, and if that doesn't work, how do you get to sustainable population? Vaccines, sterilization, tax on children, or the CO2 scam is being used to vilify the human race. Carbon emitters is being used to describe humans. If you have not read Cloak of Green or the Green Agenda, top of blog, please take the time, watch Agenda 21, last video on the sidebar. Tell me the information is incorrect. P.S. Still waiting for you to agree to debate me. Invite those you blindly follow, i.e. Bill Ryerson, Suzuki, Gore, anyone else of your choosing. Let's get this out in the open. Now, she was supposed to debate me. She agreed to debate me. And then she started, she actually said, well, you set it up, then I'll debate you. You set it up, and then I'll have final say on whether it's the way I like it or not. So I said, well. Then a few other people got involved in it, trying to get her to come out in the open, and finally basically said, you know what, Victoria, you set the rules, you set the criteria, you set where we're going to speak, and then we can have at it. But as all of these people do, they always back out because they know I'm going to wipe the floor with them ASAP. And so they have to hide in the shadows. And that's what they do. And I said, let's get out in the open. You win the debate. I will personally become a promoter of your mantra. You lose. You denounce the scam for what it is, environmentalism/sustainability, used as a front for the eugenics population reduction movement, the removal of individual rights, and the sovereignty of our nation and its people. Now, some of this stuff I don't totally agree with because we don't have a nation, and we're not sovereign. So this is from 2010, I guess. Victoria, you always have a great deal of energy and conviction. Please consider using it for your country. I thought it was a country at that time, not against it. Waiting for your invite to debate. Ron Stevens, independent here in Bruce. And my phone number, just pick up the phone and call me. Bill Ryerson, who I'd never heard of before, chimes in on this. On March 26th, there was posted on your site, Kincardine WordPress. I already forgot about. Oh yeah, maybe that blog's still running. I don't know. Anyways, that blog at the time was kincardine.wordpress.com. 2010-03-26, Tim Horton endorses Earth Hour, an article entitled Tim Horton endorses Earth Hour, which defamed our global population speak out program as a eugenics society. No support was provided for your assertion, and it is false, absolutely false. Neither the Global Population Speak Out program nor the Population Institute, which sponsored it, condones, supports, is sympathetic to, or in any way promotes eugenics. The common definition of eugenics in science, scientific study, and again, I have no use for science, study and practice of selective breeding as applied to human beings. Another definition describes eugenics as one of a number of social and or political movements aiming to achieve certain goals as they pertain to human genotype and or phenotype. Well, that's right, Bill. Okay, Mr. Bill. It is a political movement aiming to achieve certain goals. That's exactly what it is. And one of the goals of the clowns that created the United Nations, using environment for the front, is mass depopulation of the planet, because who, according to these clowns, is responsible for global warming and putting the globe in a crisis position but people. So the only way to fix the planet is to get rid of huge numbers of people. Anyways, let's see what we got here. In contrast, the mission statement of the Population Institute under our section 5013 status, recognized by the Internal Revenue Service of the United States of America, is to promote voluntary family planning and reproductive health services and increase awareness of social, economic, and environmental consequences of rapid population growth. Well, what the hell is our common future based on? What is Agenda 21 based on? Social, economic, and environmental consequences excuse me, of population growth. Eugenics is a reprehensible set of beliefs that is wholly unrelated to the goals of Population Institute or the activities of its Global Population Speak Out program. To avoid legal action, we request that you immediately retract defamatory language regarding the Population Institute's Global Population Speak Out program, specifically the language falsely and libelously characterizing the program as a eugenic society. We believe this step is required for your contractual obligation with WordPress.com and as a matter of libel law. Sincerely, William N. Ryerson, President of the Population Institute, 107 2nd Street, Washington, D.C. And I wrote Mr. Bill back. You know, I got a much same thing. Bill Nye, the science guy. What's with these Bill guys? And science, I got no use for. You already know that. Sir, eugenics or massive population reduction, we both know what the aim of the environmental movement is. If your desire is to have the wording change from eugenics to massive population reduction, we may be able to accommodate you and your group. We both know we are speaking of the same end goal, regardless of the word used to describe it. Legal threats are a serious matter. I will be passing this email on to my lawyer. Quote from you, Mr. Bill. In 1990, Prince Philip of the United Kingdom stated in a speech at the UN, the population explosion sustained by human science and technology is causing almost insolvable problems for future generations. It is responsible for the degradation of environment through the pollution of the air and the water. It is consuming essential as well as non-essential resources at a rate that cannot be sustained. Above all, it is condemning thousands of our fellow living organisms to extinction. In February 1992, the presidents of the U.S. National Academy of Sciences and the British Royal Society issued a joint statement on population growth and resource consumption that included the following sentence. If our current predictions of population growth prove accurate and patterns of human activity on the planet remain unchanged, science and technology may not be able to prevent an irreversible degradation of the environment or continued poverty for much of the world. So, Bill Ryerson is also a advisory council for the OPT, the Optimum Population Trust. I'd love to sit down and have a cup of coffee with this clown, or any of these clowns. Just why not, eh? So I invited Bill to pick up the phone and give me a call. But I never did hear from Bill again. Too bad. I could have had some fun with this boy. So, now the logic can be attributed to the Council of Rome, Rockefeller, which is a creator of false crisis and stated we came up with the idea, and therefore man is the enemy. This is just some of the comments that are in here. But anyways, I'm basically talking about this because I ran into his name last night when I looked at a other article that had put in here, and I'm trying to remember what the hell it was called, so we can follow that through. But anyways, I'm going to slam this in there. I'm a serious researcher, have been for a very, very, very long time, and continue to be, and will continue to be. You know, we all have to come to terms with what's going on out there. Let me see if I can find this thing. Oh, where would I have put that? I don't remember what the hell the name of that article was. Let me see. Where would that be? I don't know. Anyways, I can get to where it got me to. I hope. Anyways, this all has to do with the big environment thing in Paris. Okay, the environment has never been the goal. It's never been the real subject. Okay, it has always been used as a false front. And continues to be that. Okay, this has always been about destroying the West. The Reece Commission found that out, about Sovietization of the West. And man is the enemy. Get that straight. Okay, man is the enemy. Well, all right, that's you're an enemy of somebody. You're an enemy of these nut bars who believe that you're causing some sort of problem for the earth. And anybody that's stupid enough to think any action that you could possibly take is going to harm the planet in any real disturbing way, well, you need to get some help. You really do. The earth runs on its own cycles. And, people say, well, they're digging a mine over there. Well, that's probably true. But, if you stand and you look at the little ants on the ground who may be coming up through the crack of your sidewalk or something and kicking some sand up there and that, you look at them as quite insignificant little things that couldn't harm anything because, well, they're so little. But if you are 6 feet tall and you're standing up looking at a little ant, they do look pretty significant. If you get right down on the ant with a real good magnifying glass or whatever it is you want to use to amplify this situation, all of a sudden the ant looks like he's digging one hell of a hole in this small little environment that he's working in. And same goes for people. If you get on a plane and you figure out, your distance-wise from the ant to the ground, and take that and extrapolate up, get up in a plane or something, get up in the sky, and fly over, which would be an equivalent distance, whatever that might be, I think you will find that the mine is a quite insignificant little pimple on the planet. And that's just the way it is, okay? But they make a big hoo-ha out of it, and they inject this nonsense into your head. Anyways, the real story of Paris was to get money transferred, okay? Money. We need $100 billion a year. We got to have $100 billion a year. and so we can redistribute it and help those in the developing countries to develop, actually. And who will be the winner of this free money coming out of the West going into these underdeveloped countries? Well, wouldn't it be the same bankers and that already control the resources? Why spend their money to extract the resources and build infrastructure and whatnot for these so-called poor countries, which are poor because of the international bankers and lawyers? Why would we want to invest our money in that? Well, we can get it from you guys for nothing. That's what that's about. And then we go on to the depopulation thing. Now, I have, if I can find them here, I haven't had a lot of time because I've been helping someone renovate their home. And let me see here. Where did I start loading this stuff up at? Let me try this. Now, let me see. I had a bunch of links open last night that I followed. Well, this you might find this interesting. I think this is a book. Where do we go from here? Nature's Trust. Okay. So, this is not the page I'm looking for. Let me see if I can back up here. That's the plan. Where the heck did I do that? I apologize for this. Like I said, I just got home a little bit before the show started, but let me see. Where are those links? Just hang in there with me for a second. Now this is interesting. Okay, I don't know sure. Let's see. Okay. Anyways, this is interesting because this story I got, I don't know when I got this, December the 7th. And I find this very, very interesting because it says here that Britain no longer a Christian country and it's time to rid public life of Anglicanism, panel says. Now, Britain no longer is a Christian country and should stop acting as if it is. A top-level inquiry into the place of religion in society has concluded, provoking a backlash from politicians in the Church of England. A 2-year commission chaired by the former senior judge Baroness Butler Sloss and involving leading religious leaders of all faiths calls for the public life to be systematically de-Christianized. It says the decline of the church going, and the rise of Islam and other beliefs mean a new settlement is needed for religion in the UK, giving more official influence to non-religious voices and those of non-Christian faiths. The report triggered a quarrel Sunday night as it was condemned by cabinet ministers as seriously misguided, while the Church of England said it appeared to have been hijacked by humanists. The church always was a scam. The church and religion have been used to divide and conquer throughout time. The problem with it is what it's done. It's made a roadblock, and the roadblock is very similar to the roadblock that Warburg was talking about in 1950 Senate hearings. They had a problem. Now they created the problem, the original problem, and that was turning the East Bloc into the enemy, and they created that, And but then when they're trying to get the world government, we kind of screwed up there a little bit because now we can't have a world government with two world powers. So we have to fix that. So they did fix it. And the next two problems they had was the Constitution of the United States and Christianity. Those two things are standing in the way. So now we got to get rid of those, and that's what they're doing. They separated church and state long time ago, and give us legalism, which is not law. And so, but the thing with the Muslim or the Islam is that the church and state in the Islamic world is not separated. And so basically what you have is what they took away from us here. Originally, you had to go by, and the kings and the queens all took an oath to King James Bible, and they had to basically abide by the law, okay, of the Bible. And that over the years was taken away. It was worked. It was normalized that it was stupid. And so that moved us into the totally legalism world, the world of the legalists, which is not law. So that we couldn't use the Bible if the government made a law that was completely contradictory to what the Word of God supposedly is, that the Queen took the oath on, then it couldn't be a law. Okay? Do not take away or add to my word. Couldn't be a law. So they separated state and church. So whatever they wanted to do, they can make a law. They can make pedophilia normal. And there's nothing you can do about it because state and church has been separated. So, but people are still running. That's our common law. They say that's where it come from. So we're going to move in. We got to get rid of this Christian faith and completely, and we're going to replace it with Islam. And because Islam is a place where there's a situation where the state and the church are not separated, that means Sharia law. Okay, that's if people are wondering why they're implementing Sharia law when they're flooded with Muslims, is simply because they didn't separate church and state. State is church and church is state. Okay? And if you're not on board with them, well, then you're an infidel, and they're going to chop you up in pieces and send you to McDonald's where they'll make a burger out of you or something. I don't know. So that's that. But now there are all kinds of United Nations graphs out stating the same thing. Now, they have the population graphs, and I don't know why I can't find this stuff today. But anyways, they have the population graphs, which look extremely similar to the global warming graphs. Very, very similar indeed. They have the migration graphs looking very similar to the population graphs and looking very similar to the climate change graphs. Because these guys use templates. They just exchange one thing for the other, but the template basically remains the same. And I had so much of this stuff open last night. Where did it go? I'll have to dig it out again because I want people to take a real hard look if you haven't looked at the population situation yet. I have no idea where those links went. I had so freaking many of them open. Let me see here. In the meantime, I'm going to keep looking for them, but in the meantime, I would like people to take a look at Jean Bodin, I guess is how they pronounce that. He was French, and he wrote a lot. He lived from 1529 to 1596, and I was really curious about where they come up with this thing as the divine right of kings, which puts them in place of God or an agent proxy of God. So what they say is law, and this guy seems to be the guy who first came up with the idea, or that's where the idea of divine right of kings came from. So there's some really interesting stuff in there, and I haven't had time to read all his books. I'm going to take a boo at some of them, I think, when I get time, because these are all things we have to know. You can't know what's going on today if you don't understand what went on in the past. Okay, so all of the history and everything that's taught to us is skewed, right? And we don't know the past. And without knowledge of the past, you can't have knowledge of the present. You just can't do it. Okay. Oh, I know what it was. Somebody was. Now I get it. I had a long day and I was really busy all day. I get it now. Somebody was looking at a post that I put up, I think in 2007. Okay. I think if I got time, I hope I still got a little bit of time. Not much. Okay. Let me back up here. Okay. Let me try this. Let me see this. Carbon tax on children. Now they're talking about this today still, but you don't get that yet because they haven't promoted it enough yet. Now I have a few things up here from this I put up in 208. I see another one from 207 or 209 copy. Now, got to go find UCY TV. Now, go look at this. And it's about carbon tax and children, and that's what Paris was all about. Okay, now when you're going through this, you will find highlighted letters in here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can click on any of those things, okay, and it's going to take you to. I think number 6 gets you to the article. I'm not 100% sure on this, but this was put out. This article that I just put in the chat was from the Medical Journal of Australia. Okay, 2007. Now, from there. Let me see here. Okay, there you can go to some of those links, and now we have this is Sustainable Population Australia. Okay, and they've taken some of this stuff down, but this is the whole gist of the deal. I mean, they're going to carbon tax you, and steal your hard labor that you worked for, to transfer money to them, I guess, so that they can finance other things, but that's that. And there's once you get into this, Nature Conservation Council of this is in Australia as well. Now this is Boom Until We Bust. I love this. I think this is the one. Okay. Australia's population at the 30th of June 2012 of 22.7 million is projected to increase between 36.8 million and 48.3 million in 2061. Now, how the hell is that supposed to happen? Because the Western countries are at barely replacement or below replacement of their populations. They're not having enough kids to even sustain their population. So how are you going to get a projected increase from 22.7 million to 36.8 and then 48.3? Where are these people coming from? Ever heard of the word genocide? Okay, what's all this migration about? And who's migrating in? These people have 6-8 kids per family. Okay, it's called genocide, Mr. Ryerson. Okay, and reach between 42 and 70.1 million by 2101. This is like, well, we can project this because we have population models, just like we have climate change models that we can look out to the end of the century and say, if it hits 1.5 and God forbid it hits 2, it's over. We can project this stuff because why? Because we're scientists. I hate scientists. There have been 2 estimates by scientists for an ecologically sustainable population of Australia at consumption levels similar to those of today. The first was 10 million people, which is less than half the population of today, by ecologist Paul Ehrlich of Stanford University. Okay, he wrote The Population Bomb. He was also the guy who was at the first environment meeting on human environment in Stockholm in 1972. Still running around here with his nonsense. The second projection was 6 to 12 million by Professor Tim Flannery. Both estimates are substantially lower than Australia's current population, 23.4 million. As of February 2014, and highlight the need for the urgent action to address this vexed issue. We live on a finite planet, and humanity must accept these limits. Increasing population threats not only the ecosystems and services on which the species rely, but also our own well-being and quality of life. Increasing population also counteract strategies to reach the truly ecological sustainable future. And that, my friends, that is what the environment movement is about and has always been about. Period. We got to get in their faces and we got to wake some people up as fast as we can wake them up, because these lunatics, and I'm going to put this in as well, I was looking at some UN documents, which I looked at years ago, but they've updated them. And the next move here, to move with environment, we have to stop using coal. That's what they're saying. We have to not use water. We have not to use electricity. And then it comes in the real game here, which is we have to get rid of the population, okay? And that's what it's always been about. Sorry, it's been a bit of a fractured show, but I'm happy I got at least some of these links in here tonight. You got to understand what environment is about and was always about and continues to be about, okay? Anyways, that's the end of the show. I hear music. I want to thank everybody listening. Get to some of those links, pass them around to your friends, put them on your blog, Facebook, do whatever you want with them. But understand the true game is played. Hey, I'm your host, Ron Stevens. It's Game On with Dr. Bruce 878. And hey, take care, everybody. Have a great night. We are